Let's begin with the wire mapping. This will let you test a cable. If you think an Ethernet cable is bad, you can connect an Ethernet cable to the RJ45 scan port and the RJ45 main port on the unit. Then select mapping on the device. Select Cat5e or 5 unless you are using Cat6. I'm not really sure if this matters or not for the device. Then click Start. Here are the results. Since we have both ends of the Ethernet cable plugged into the unit, it will come back as a local result. If we had used the remote tester, it would say remote. Below is a wire map of the cable or connection we tested. 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and so on means it's wired correctly. Anything else means it's wired differently, which may not necessarily be a bad thing if you're testing a crossover cable, for example. This is an awesome feature, and I use this feature most often when testing cables that have been ran and terminated at patch panels or keystones. So second is port flash. This will help you test and identify a specific cable among many. You'd hook up the Ethernet cable you're trying to locate on a router or a switch, for example, to the PoE ping port on the device, then select port flash. The little red circle will flash when it sends test data, and the port light on the router or switch, if equipped, will flash at the same time, as you can see here. Now you'll know which port on the switch or router the cable is plugged into. Thirdly, we have scan. For this, plug in an Ethernet cable to either RJ45 port on the main unit and select scan. It will start to send a tone through the cable. That is all you would do with the main unit. Now you would grab the probing unit, that will catch the tone, and it would help you ID the port on a patch panel, for example. You'd carefully run the probing unit across the patch panel. You don't really want to damage the ports on it. Once you begin to hear a tone, you would narrow it down, plug in the remote tester, and go back to the main unit and select wire mapping to test the connection like I described before. The wire mapping would then let you know if that is the port and if it's wired correctly. So fourth, we have ping. This will allow you to ping a device on the network. You'd want to plug in a cable to the PoE ping port on the main unit and the other end into the desired network, and then enter the IP of the device you want to ping. This is good for testing the network performance, device connectivity, etc. I'm not sure if I would use this too often, but it's a good feature to have. Fifth, we have length. This will let you test the length of a cable. You can calibrate it as well to make it more accurate. Just plug in a cable you know the length of, select the length, then calibrate, adjust it to what you know the length is, save the calibration and then load it, and then test the results. Once you do, they'll be even more accurate. After some calibration and figuring the thing out, it turned out to be accurate enough. Also worth noting that you only plug one end into the main jack of the unit, and the other end of the cable you don't plug into anything, it just hangs there. Also, it does show the length of each wire or pair within the Ethernet cable, but they were always the same, so in practice, it might only just give you the overall cable length. Sixth, we have PoE. This will let you test and check the voltage provided for a port on a PoE switch or device. You'd obviously use the PoE ping port on the device, and then it'll show you the voltage on each wire. I don't have a PoE switch, so my results just say 0 for all the wires. And lastly, we have settings for the device. It will let you adjust the screen brightness, the backlight timeout, auto off, and the system theme. The theme options are just white and blue, so not really much of a choice. So I use this tester to set up a small to medium-sized office with almost 100 runs of Ethernet cables. It was totally a lifesaver and was pretty simple to use. It made the job so much easier. The color display was pretty cool, and it gave great information about the connections and the tests. For setting up a network, it did everything I needed it to do, and I never had any connection issues with the remote tester. I worked with it for an hour and a half, and the battery meter still said full. And throughout the whole project, I never needed to charge any of the devices once. So the battery life does seem good. The toner worked well. However, on a port that was very close, it would make a noise all over the patch panel, and I couldn't quite tell which port it was coming from. Later we learned that the sensitivity could be changed, and it made testing that very close cable very doable. I'm told this happens a lot to devices when trying to tone cables close to the patch panel, so I don't think it's really just this one. As far as the long-term reliability of this kit, I can't be sure. I've only had it for about half a year or so, but hopefully it lasts for a long time. For a second opinion, I also had my network friend from work play with it. She uses testers like this all day and has a high-end Fluke model. Of course, it's not fair to compare this to the Fluke, and I'm not, but I just wanted to know what she thought of it. So first of all, she wasn't impressed with the accuracy of the cable length test, but with some calibration we did manage to get it good enough, she said. Also, she did mention that it looks like it was missing the ability to certify the cabling for Cat 5e speed. That sort of thing is important to her, as she is delivering completed jobs to users all day and needs to be able to certify them. She also then proceeded to show me a few features on her Fluke that she noted this unit didn't have, like gathering the speed of the port it was connected to and other basic info like that. She did, however, like the large bright screen, and she said the bang for the buck was awesome. In the end, she said it's not really for a major installer or large business, but for small stuff or home use, it would be great. So, there you have it. Maybe not a ton of fancy features, but certainly enough for the basic, small to medium project. Might also not always be the best option for a huge company that uses these sort of things all day, every day, but for home use, it would be great. On a budget and for what I've used it for, it's been very helpful. So, would something like this work for you? Do you have a budget option that's better than this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.